Hello ladies and gentlemen, today we have the brand new Tamiya 1:24 scale kit, the McLaren Senna. I'm sure there are a lot of people waiting for this kit, and also I'm sure there are lots of reviews gonna show up in YouTube. But anyways, let's have a look at this kit I got. First of all, the box art is a very normal Tamiya kind of illustration. It's very slick, very car design type kind of illustration. And on this side of the box, we can see the two color recommendation for this particular car. That's the US spec, which has two exhaust pipe, and the European spec, which has 3 exhaust pipes. And one recommended color is in blue, one recommended color is in orange red. And at the end we can see, you know, the same illustration as we see on the box cover. And this side we have an explore view of the chassis and the interior parts, such as the cockpit, the front radiators, and also the engine bay. And then a short description about the models. And this end of the box is the same as the other end. Okay, this kit is number 24355. So let's open the box and take a look inside. First of all, very surprisingly, there's no car body. Only has the monocoque chassis with the whole frame of the car. And then we have 4 tires and some clear parts. A silver sprue contains of engine parts, radiators, and some of the frame of the chassis, and also the wheels, the brakes, the brake disc, the uprights, and some exhaust pipes. And then we come to some panel for the car body. Now they have break the car body into separate parts so that when we paint it, we don't have to do a lot of masking. And then a large black sprue with the cockpit and the rear frame, engine frame, and then the wheel wells, the diffuser, and the front radiator openings, inside door panels, and the car seats, and then rest of the detailed parts. This small sprue contains of the seats paddings and the rear wing, and also the brake calipers, and also the padding for the seats. And then lastly, we have some of the window trims, the rear wings, and more of the body parts. This is also a very large sprue in black. And then we have the decal and also metal stickers, which are standard in Tamiya's kit. And then we have a leaflet with the color guide, and also some reference images, and also a short description of the car. A piece of leaflet about the other products by Tamiya, mainly tools, and they call this tech tips. So it's sort of a bunch of modeling tips with the use of their tools and paints. And then lastly, we have the instruction, which comes in the booklet. Okay, first of all, let's look at the instruction. Similar to most Tamiya's instruction, you know, it starts with some advice on building the models, some recommended tools, and then also the recommended paints, of course, in with reference to Tamiya's own range of paints, and then the painting instruction, decaling instruction, and here is some explanation on how to undercoat the car with the primer, of course. And then the how to stick the metal transfer onto the model, and then some advice regarding assembly of the model. And then here is a table about the two main color that they recommend for painting this model kit. And then there are three different specs, A, B, and C. A is the European spec, B is the Japan spec, C is the US spec. And I guess you can also match the color with the different specs. But anyways, you know, this car comes in so many different variation of colors. I think you can paint it any way you like, or find some reference on the net. And then the instructions start with step 1, which is the painting of the monocoque. They actually call it the body, so it's part of the body, but I'm sure this is part of the monocoque. And then step 2, we have the assembly of some of the detail parts in the cockpit, the roof, and also some parts on the rear of the car. Step 3 is mainly the radiators, the side radiators, and also the front mesh. Step 4 will be the front radiator complex, and also part of the roof. Step 5 is the exhaust pipe, the European and the Japan spec, and then the US spec. And step 6 is the rear color panel of the body, also the installing of the exhaust pipe. Then here in step 7, they recommend you to install the window here. I'm sure a modeler will leave the window till the very end. After that, then is the installation of the rear body part onto the main body, and also the roof part onto the main body. Step 8 will be more installation of the window panels, and then fix the window panels with these two, I guess they are pillars, you know. This is part of the window, this is the rear pillar. Anyways, these two parts will keep the window in place. And then step 9 is the installation of the side window, and also the windshield wipers. Step 10 is part of the body panel with the air intake mesh, and also some of the trimming of these rear body panels. And step 11 is installing the rear body panels onto the main body structure. And then step 12 is the assembly of the front air intake, and also install it onto the main body. And then step 13 is some of the winglets. Step 14 is the assembly of the front headlight housing. It looks quite complex, this one. And then step 15 is installing of the front light housing onto the main body, and also some of the structure for the front of the car. Step 16 is the assembly of the front hood. Step 17 is the assembly of the front side panels. Step 18 is the assembly of the doors. Step 19 is the installing of the door and the side door glass panel. Step 20 is the assembly of the front little winglets. And then step 21 is the assembly of the rear bumper. Step 22, we come to the assembly of the cockpit and the rear frame of the car. Step 24 is the assembly of the front upright and the brake disc. Step 25 is the installation of the front brake disc complex onto the front suspension. Step 26 is the completion of the front suspension complex. And then we start assembling the engine on step 27. Completion of the engine in step 28, and then install it onto rear engine frame. Putting the engine frame onto the car body, step 29. And then we have the assembly of the intake manifold. Step 31 is the assembly of the heat shield. I'm not quite sure how this works, but they call it the heat shield. And then assembly of the rear brakes and rear uprights. And then step 33 is the assembly of the rear suspension and brakes. Step 34 is the installation of the rear wheel housing. And then step 35 is the assembly of the central column and also the rear of the cockpit. And then step 36 is the assembly of the engine bulkhead. Step 37 is the assembly of the seats, installing of the seats. And then step 39 is the assembly of the dashboard. Step 40 is the assembly of the dashboard cover. Step 41 is the assembly of the steering wheel. And then step 42 is the assembly of the inside door panels. And then step 43 is attaching the body onto the bottom tray. Step 44 is the assembly of the under panels. And step 45 complete with the rest of the under panels. Step 46 is assembly of the diffuser. Then we have the assembly of the wheels. And then step 48 is attaching of the wheels. And step 49 is the assembly of the rear wing. And then step 50 is the attaching of the rear wing onto the swan neck supports. And if you look at the drawing, I think Tamiya has come up with a very clever way of attaching the rear wing onto the swan neck supports. You can see that the way the wing is interlocked onto the swan necks so that the angle of the rear wing can be fixed. And also the attachment points will be very strong. This is typically what Tamiya does the best, is making assembly very easy for all kinds of modelers. So there you go, that's the instruction. Now let's look at the kit. First of all, let's look at the body panels. Well, as usual, you can see that the body panels are very nicely molded, extremely smooth, and definitely no flash at all. And also the placement of the parting lines or the molding lines are very cleverly placed. So there's really not much to talk about, except this is typical Tamiya quality. And then we come to the other white sprue of parts. Again, very nicely molded, clean and sharp. And it's really nice, this time we have the brake calipers separate from the brake disc, so it's much easier to paint. Then let's look at the two giant black sprues. This is sprue D, and it contains the front light housing, the rear mesh, the wheel wells, the diffuser, the door panels, the combing of the dashboard, some of the bulkhead, this is the front opening for the radiator, for the cooler. And here is the driver's compartment, the cockpit, with the rear engine frame. And the seats, see clearly with better lighting. Okay, and then we have the second large sprue of black parts. This is sprue B. the rear wing, and then the window pillar, the swan necks, the central column of the cockpit, some of the panel of the bottom of the car, the front spoiler, and then the radiators with the fans molded on, and other small pieces. Again, very sharp molding with very good details. This is sprue C. Now it contains the engine, the radiators, and some of the body framework, the gearbox, the exhaust pipe, and then also the wheels, which is nicely detailed. Brake discs, they come in separately this time, so painting of them will be much easier. And then the uprights, and then this is part of the underneath panel, and then the framework of the rear of the car. Well, the engine, it's a little basic, but again, the engine panel cannot be opened, so it's just enough detail to show through the glass panels. And then we come to the main car body. Again, we can see that the molding is very nice. The plastic is quite thin, and there's no way for me to tell whether the shape is accurate or not, because it's just a frame. And then this is part of the rear wing, which molded in one piece. But then again, there's some ejection pin mark here, but the feeling of it is quite shallow, so it's quite easy to sand it smooth, I think. We'll see when we put the kit together. This is a very complex part to be designed and molded. Who else can do this other than Tamiya? Amazing, amazing parts. Really complex. And then lastly, we come to the final sprue of plastic parts, which is the sprue of all the clear parts. Well, again, it's very clear and very sharp. You can see the reflection is very clean and very clear. And according to the instruction, there is really no need to glue any of this window panel onto the car body. They are all fixed by other parts, so there is no risk of having glue smearing or eating into the clear plastic parts. We'll see when we assemble the kit whether this really works. And then we have the tires. Well, tires are always Tamiya's strong points. The tracks are very detailed and crisp. I'm sure the whole wheel assembly will be very nice. And then lastly, we have the decal and the metal stickers. The metal stickers is as usual. Same kind of metal stickers, a couple pieces for the rear view mirrors, and then some of the logos and stuff like the McLaren, the Senna logos and stuff like that. And then the decal is a small piece of decal, contains mainly of the dashboards and the instrument panels, the LED display and stuff like that. And this one doesn't say it's cartograph, so I suppose it's not printed by cartograph. It looks nice though. There you have it. A very quick look at the brand new Tamiya 1/24 scale McLaren Senna kit. Now it's a very nice kit, and I think I'll build it right away. Well, this car comes in many colors, and what I understand, Tamiya also had come up with a specific orange for this particular model. But what I have in hand is the McLaren metallic orange, which I test on this MC412C car body. And I think this is a very nice looking orange. So you are welcome to follow me and watch me build this kit up. And once again, thank you for watching, and until next time, bye bye.